January 20th, 2015 is now in session. We'll make a call for quorum. Mr. Ortega, absent. Mr. Turnbull, Mr. Gay,
Here.
Ms. Ball,
Here.
Mr. Thomasini.
Here.
We have a quorum. 4 here, 1 absent, and the mayor. Okay. At this time, if you would please, we'll stand for a short invocation and pledge. Our Father, we thank Thee again for allowing us to come here to carry out the business of this community. Be with us as we do so. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I get started, a lot of people know that Jack's Corner closed down, Jack's Corner store, and that's because Annie Morell, that's the mother of what's left of the Morell family. She passed away, and she was a good lady. She had a lot of children and some children that she adopted, so she was a good person, and we probably won't see Jack's Corner. There's a good chance anymore. I don't know for sure. It's just, but we might have to find another place to hang an agenda. So.
Mr. Mayor, I know it is inappropriate to entertain a motion from the floor, and I won't make one, but I think it might be appropriate if the city of Sandy Oaks were to send something of some sort of value to them. They've been in this community for a long time. Been friends to all of us.
A long time. I've been here 27 years, and I know they were here before that. So.
Yeah.
Maybe take up a donation or something.
Okay, well, we could do something. I think we can do it in private rather than do it right here. That'd be okay.
Good idea.
Okay, we have the meeting should go rather rapidly this evening. Item 4 on the agenda, consent agenda. 4A and 4B will be taken together. We either approve or disapprove, and if you have questions about either one, it'll be pulled and put on the main agenda. Item 4A, which is to approve item 5 from the January 8, 2015 agenda, is a date correction for the October meeting, and I believe that was passed out to each of the city council members. And 4B is approval of the minutes of the December 15, 2015 meeting. Are there any opposition to either one of those?
It just has one mistake. It says December the 15th, 2015. Is that the one you're talking about?
Which one is that?
4B.
No,
The December 15th minutes says December 15th, 2015.
December 15, 2015.
Okay. We could entertain making that change right here.
Well, mine says 14.
Oh,
It says 15.
Oh. there's two different ones.
There's probably a corrected one, and we didn't get the corrected one.
It was supposed to be corrected and handed out.
My apologies for this one.
Does the master one have the correct,
Is it the same?
I don't know. No, the 4A was from October,
yes,
and the date on the agenda was wrong, it wasn't the date in the minutes, and the agenda can't be changed.
okay,
That's why we haven't approved the October 9th.
okay. But it has been changed now.
Well, we can't change the agenda,
The first is.
it was just a date, so you can't change, you can't go back and change the agenda.
Okay.
So on 4A, there's going to be no action taken on that, is that what I get?
Yeah, I just recommend no action on 4A, and then on 4B, same thing, just pull the consent, and just someone entertain a motion to make a clerical correction.
I motion we approve 4B with the change of 2015 to 2014 on it.
We have a second. We have a second.
Yeah, they approved for the minutes for December 15th. Please.
Got the wrong year.
It's got the wrong year on it, it's 2015. A motion that we approve it with a correction of the year to 2014. Just keep bringing it back and rehashing it.
Yeah, 'cause it's been here.
Was there a second on this?
Was there a second?
Yeah. Sure.
Question, the agenda is wrong, it has 2015 on
The motion was to approve it by amending the
it.
date.
On the agenda.
Yeah, on the agenda. So it'll be as is, but corrected for the date. So we need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Thomasini, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Yeah, unanimous. By the way, tonight, because Mr. Ortega is missing, in case of a tie in any vote, I will cast a vote. Okay, item 5 on the agenda.
So before you do
Yes.
that, in a special meeting, we have a quorum,
Correct.
but we need unanimous for anything to,
No,
it's
the same.
still,
It's on the
okay.
majority. So you would need 3 to pass a measure.
Okay, item 5, approve the submission of the application for a CDBG grant in the sum of $150,000 for the master plan for the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas. And Alderman Gay will fill you in on that.
Okay. The meeting we had last week with the county commissioner over in Somerset, they gave us all the paperwork on it. This application is due no later than February the 17th, but however, the folks up at the CDBG office at the county state that we need to get it in the sooner the better so that they can go through it and scrutinize it. Now, what we're looking at on this this application is not so much the content, is actually the application itself. If we don't send them an approved application, we go nowhere, we don't get it. Basically, on the first page of it there, it's just general information, contact people, phone numbers, email addresses, and the amount of the grant for $150,000. It's the second page, page 2, is the one that if we want to tweak something here, this is the place that we would do it. Under project activity description, I have listed in there infrastructure master plan for the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas. Our goal is for this plan to address the city's needs in the areas of street maintenance, drainage, flood, lightning, fire, and I put hydrants, fire hydrants in there, transportation, public facilities, community facilities, and hazards. Just pretty much general things that we want in our master plan. Now keep in mind some of these we don't have yet. We don't have public facilities or community facilities yet. This is if we get some of these down the road, we want those included in our master plan. If there is something here that the board thinks that I left out on that we'd like to include in that, it wouldn't be things like, you wouldn't put things like, we want sidewalks, or we want animal control, or that kind of stuff. Those are separate grants that you go after we get our master plan set. This is just basic things that an engineer is going to come through and look at and say, this is what your city needs over long term, and this is the timeline that you should be able to take care of it. Also, as we were told, we don't need to have our own engineering firm set up on this. The CDBG grant people will assign an engineer to it for us. They are the ones that come in and they actually get that work all taken care of for us, and that was explained in our meeting with them. Other than that, council, it's open for discussion.
Okay, anybody have any further questions on that?
Is that just on this page or the whole thing? Your guess?
Yeah, just on this particular page. If there's something else that you wanted to add to that,
Just to that section?
yeah.
Is this pretty normal?
Yeah, that's it, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, this is done exactly the same way as I did the last one, but that was a foregone
Yeah.
conclusion.
Yeah, this doesn't guarantee we're gonna get any money if we approve this. This is only getting us into the process to get approval for it. And the nice thing about it was at that meeting, we were the only ones that put in for a master plan at precinct 1.
Mr. Mayor, I would just recommend that maybe council consider adding water and wastewater. The way the CDBG program works, it has to be in your master plan for them to fund it. So you may also want to have the engineer do a basic assessment of water and wastewater. That way, if you ever have a pipe break or anything, you would like to have a grant or something to repair it, it's already in there. You would have to pay that.
Well, so that begs the question, who owns the water pipes and stuff in the city? I'm assuming that's still SAWS.
It is, but sometimes with a pipe break, I guess that's a bad example. A better example would be to increase capacity or replace aging pipes. You'd be surprised sometimes pipes are asbestos.
Is that still not SAWS? I mean, don't they own that?
They do, but in working with the city, sometimes SAWS will come in and say, you know what, we'll pay for 75% of the project, and then the city has to come up with 25%. And one way to get that money would be to apply for a CDBG grant to do the match, or to bring wastewater in. But having the goal of the infrastructure master plan is really to have your engineers come in and do an assessment of all of your infrastructure assets. And so you know which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones are near capacity, which ones need repair. It's kind of like a playbook, and then from there you kind of can apply for grants or say, okay, our highest priority is we need to fix a road, or it might be we need to bring in wastewater. So you want to kind of have them look at all the major infrastructure areas. It might come back that your water lines are great and there's no problem, and then you actually know that, and you have an engineer that's looked at it and have a stamp on it, and you'll know where your water lines are and all that.
So just add water and wastewater.
Every master plan absolutely has had water and wastewater components, so.
And keep in mind, if there's something in here that is not what they would include in it, when this gets back to the CDBG office there at the county level, they will tweak it. Yeah, absolutely, that's what they do.
At this point, when we're addressing street maintenance, we're addressing streets that we've got from the county.
Correct.
Not the streets within the subdivision that are still private roads.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
The scope, the city can later on in the process can define the scope. I know, for example, Von Army, we had the engineers look at the private roads because they were unpaid. And it went in there as a project on what it would cost to improve the road, pave it, and convert it to a public road. So if that's a need for the city, those private roads can be assessed for what it would cost to convert them to public roads. It's up to the local council. So it can be private roads, can be looked at for purposes such as that. Or even potential roads. Again, that may not be the case here, but sometimes people might say, hey, we want frontage roads, for example. So that might be something that you need to look at. And give a basic assessment of what it would cost to build in a frontage road or new access to the interstate to promote economic development or whatnot. So it can be existing, potential, future project, and then they'll also work with the council to rank them, so you know what is the biggest priority, what's a must-have, and what's a would like to have.
So the master plan that's put together by the engineer, are we as a city are then committed to whatever recommendations the engineer makes?
No, you're not. And you may want to start using the term infrastructure master plan, because there's different kinds. This is a infrastructure master plan, so the roads, water, drainage, all the things listed here. Should you get the grant, if it's approved, then you'll work with the county to develop a scope of the study. And the council will work with the county with that, and then they'll bid it out, and the engineers will bid on it. So they'll basically study whatever the council wants them to study. And there's some basic stuff, quality of the roads, whatnot. And some of the things, like I said, it might be nice to have. So it'd be nice to have frontage roads, maybe nice to have park improvements or something. But one of the main purposes of the plan is so you know the cost of it. So it might come back and it says it costs $5 million to do an idea prioritize. And the public has input on this as well. So the engineer, it's not just the council, so they make the final decision. They'll have public hearings where folks come in and everyone pitches their ideas and points out things that they may be aware of. Sometimes you notice the pothole or the drainage issue right by your house, and council members will live by there. So it's the whole community is giving input, and then ultimately the council whittles it down and the final mesh plan. It's something that you're going to be updating periodically. Every year or two, you're going to be tweaking it. Or if an issue arises, you may at some point have your city engineer add something to the plan or revise it. It's a living document.
And there's only one caveat. If you're approved and your master plan is approved, you must complete one item. If you don't, you owe the money back. So we need to be really cautious of that and complete something that's attainable easily.
A very common project from CDBG or road resurfacing projects. And so, roads always need repair, so that's very likely to be one of the projects at some point you get into. And sometimes I'll break it up. So if it's $1 million project and they only give about $200,000 a year, they may break it up into 5 segments and you do one segment at a time.
So just so I'm clear, we're requesting funding here for basically an engineer
Yeah.
to study the infrastructure plan. There's none of this money will be used to implement any of the suggestions on it.
No, but you'll have survey crews and engineers, and they're going to literally study, and you'll get a lot of fancy charts and books and what we think. So you end up with a big stack of paper with a lot of gory details about the infrastructure.
And so what's the timeline based on?
What they gave me was that on,
I mean, they've come up with a master plan.
we should know by sometime in October if we're gonna get this, this
To
grant.
conduct the plan.
Exactly, they're gonna give us like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, whatever.
As part of the scope of project, usually they're around like a 7-year plan, is what you do. Probably anywhere from 4 to 6 months to conduct.
So it basically gives us an idea on how we're gonna need to spend money in the future.
Right, and how to manage grant applications and things like that. So, for example, you have a street maintenance tax, and it may cost $100,000 to do a full street repair or wideness or whatever, and this helps you leverage your tax money. So you might say, it also identifies potential funding sources. So you may learn, for example, that there's a county program that pays 80%, and council knows to plan and budget for a 20% match, apply for the grant, and then get the project done.
And Mr. Mayor, you mentioned that we have to complete at least one item or repay the funds.
Mhm.
What's our time period for that?
They didn't really give us a time period on it. They just said we have to complete one.
the
Yeah.
line, it's like a 6-month.
There's an annual cycle, so this time next year, you'll be applying probably for the first project, even though the plan is done.
I think the question was 6 months for the engineer
To
to
do the master plan, once we get approved for it.
It might-
Again, it is like a 6-month project.
So
If
we're
we get
talking
approved in October, you're looking at probably March or this time next year, or what later next time.
later.
It doesn't happen
And
overnight.
in my experience, most of the projects are fully funded through CDBG, though occasionally they bid out, and I know on at least one occasion, we had to pay $7,000 on a speaker, there was at least $100,000. So there is the potential for the city to have to cover it before we bid. But generally speaking, part of this is to estimate the cost, so that you apply for the correct grant, and then they bid it out, and typically it's 100% covered. And then they also have what's called reprogram funds. So at the end of each year, or each cycle, there are actually grants that come under budget, and then the county re-grants them fairly quickly, like within 60 days. And so having your master plan in place and your priorities there helps you do that. An example, this year we applied for a normal one, we got a phase 1 approved, then the reprogramming funding came in, and 2 weeks later they called us up and said, hurry, pass the resolution so you can get your phase 2 funding. And we got phase 1 and 2 roughly in the same cycle because of reprogramming funding. So that happens too. There's the normal grant process, and then there'll be reprogram funds periodically as available. But I've seen it happen about every other year.
Okay, ready to continue? Any other?
Okay, on the next page,
Wait, I thought I have a question about the second part. You said we were only talking about this piece.
yeah, I was moving on. What part are you talking about?
Well, just low to moderate income area benefit.
That's what I'm going to get to
Oh,
next.
you said next page.
Well, basically, that is all written on the next page, yes. The answer to it is. Okay, this master plan will service the residents of Sandy Oaks for an infrastructure master plan for city to focus on. This program will service approximately 2,000 to 2,500 low to middle income individuals in the community. The master plan would also create several jobs. When you look down under there, it says, please answer the following. What's the total number of persons to be served by the project? We don't really know what our exact population is, but somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000. I put an estimate in there. What is the total number of low to middle income households? Or persons or households, it's going to be persons, 2,000 to 2,500. Anticipated percent of low to middle income persons to be served by the project, approximately 60%. And like I say, those are all estimates. They're not set in stone. We don't know exactly what they are, but we need numbers in there. And
Well,
it's got to be greater than 51.
That goes back to this. How do you know where did you get the figures for the low to moderate income?
The last figures that came out from the county showed that we were at, what, 52%?
52%.
And that was a 2010 census.
Yeah.
And on your paragraph here where it says it's gonna service approximately 2,000 to 2,500 LMI individuals.
That's an estimate.
Well, no, I understand that, but why is it only servicing them? What about the rest of us?
No, it's going to service all of them, but there's that many low to middle income persons within our
No, I
area.
understand that, but why are you saying that this master plan, the program would service approximately 2,000 to 2,500 as opposed to 3,500 to 4,000?
Because there's not 3,500 to 4,000 low to middle income. It's asking how many low to middle income you have. That's what's included. It's not asking for a total rate.
It's not asking that in here. It's not asking specifically about low.
It wants an example. If you read up above this, an
No, I-
example, this program will service 485 low to moderate income. It doesn't ask you for the total number of people it's going to
No,
service.
that's just an example
Yeah.
for you to do this. I'm just saying it's kind of odd that you're excluding.
I'm not excluding anyone. If everybody in the city is included in the master plan, 2,000 to 2,500 of those, however, we believe are low to moderate income.
It's a federal program, so they make you report percentage of low to moderate income, because that's part of the scoring mechanism. So you obviously get more weight, and so it requires you to report it. But the plan is for the whole.
Well, no, I understand that, and it's probably semantics here. It could have said it would service 3,500 to 4,000 persons. Of those, so many are low to moderate income. It sounds odd that it's,
It does say that in the numbers below. It asks
in your
for the-
description, in your scope of work, it does not, is what I'm saying. I see it in the bottom, I'm just saying in the top, it's not stating that.
I do.
Organizational capacity, Sandy Hooks became incorporated on April 10th, 2014 by public vote. Seated the mayor, 5 aldermen. It lists their terms there. Places 1, 3, and 5 expire on November 2015. The mayor places 2 and 4 expire in 2016. I've also included in there, we do have a city clerk. The city clerk is an at-will position with no expiration date. Back through there on page 5, the only thing we have to put in there is $150,000 for the verification, planning, site visits, etc. And
that's all they're doing, they're not gonna be doing any.
that's it. And until we have this, we're not eligible for any other grants anywhere that come along. We have to have this approved first. Flipping over to page 8, that's the threshold certification. That's where the signature and printed name of the authorized signer, which at this point will be the mayor. And he also had to sign it on page number 10. And the last page of the application is for signature authorization form. Who is going to be signature or signing for the money from the city? At this point, the only people we have would be the mayor and the city clerk. And until we change that, that's what we put in there. Like I say, that would also change if council so deems it necessary in the future. Like I say, don't fixate so much on the wording in the document as the document itself has to be in on a certain date. And I can assure you what is written in here, if it needs to be tweaked, these ladies and Jaime down there at the CDBG office, he is going to tell us, they're going to tell us exactly what needs to be worded and how it needs to be worded. They work very well with us, and then they also work very well with Chico's office to make sure that all of this stuff is turned in a timely manner. And then it's up to us to continue following up. As every stage goes, we need to go, stage 1 gets approved, we go shake Chico's hand, say, Chico, hey, look, we really need this, we want it, this is for our community. Let them know that we're still interested in it. Don't just let it sit. We got to keep following up on it.
It says here that we, in order for the application to be accepted, that our organization must have attended one of the public hearings. Has that occurred?
Yes, it has. That's where I got all of this information from. And that was the one on the 15th over in Somerset.
On January 15th?
January 15th, yes, ma'am.
And then I also understand from discussing with, what's the lady's name? Aurora. Yes. That we have to agree to, there's something within her organization that we have to agree to sign up for.
It's a participation. So this is a federal program, and there's 2 ways to participate. One is the default way is you participate through the state, and the state does the similar thing, which you're competing with literally lots and lots of communities. And then some of the larger urban counties, like Bear County, create their own CDBG office, and people are able to opt in, and then the pool of money for Bear County is given to Bear County, and then Bear County distributes it. And so that's the agreement that we're going to have to enter into to opt into the Bear County participation scheme. But you're much more likely to be granted an award by participating in the county than
Right.
the state one.
All right, no, I get that.
So that's what we have, so that's why.
And that occurs when? Before the application is turned in, or after? or-
Before it's awarded, I know we contacted her, let them know that the city's interested in doing that, and they're preparing all the paperwork and all that.
We did that when we went up to see Ms. Sanchez.
So like I said, these are submitted in February, they're not awarded until October, so there's still some time, but you're correct. Before the final award is given, we do have to opt in to the county.
Okay, so you signed something that says that we are choosing to do that. You did?
The original's right here, he's got it.
Okay, we're here again.
Yes, is there, oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm concerned. Would this council not have been required to vote on that? I mean, for him to act on the behalf of the city to sign a document?
I recall us discussing it, I don't recall if we voted on it.
Recall discussing it. I don't remember it being on an agenda.
I just remember it just, well, I would say yes, I mean, the council should vote to approve it.
Okay.
But I cannot recall when we voted, I know we discussed CDBG before, explained.
Right.
I don't recall off the top of the head.
So I'm just concerned that that probably should have been an agenda item that was brought before the council and...
Well, that's what we're doing here.
No, he's already signed a document, is what I'm
Well,
saying.
yeah, but it's signed and dated today.
It wasn't on the agenda and it wasn't voted on if we were even gonna do this.
I'll make up a new one and let him
Well,
sign it.
no, I'm just saying,
You know.
the option was to go through the state or go through Bear County. He made a decision without discussing it with the council on which way to go. Not that the decision is the bad one, I think that's what we all would have supported. I'm just trying to make sure that we're doing everything the way it's supposed to be done.
Well, he hasn't turned it in yet, has he?
I have a question on another item. Can you explain what the Davis-Bacon Act is?
Davis Bacon Act. I don't have to do with federal funds, Fair Labor Standards Act, and all that type of thing. Mainly, you require your subcontractors and contractors to agree to. Any construction the city does, though, we would do standard retainage and all that to shield them, or shield the city from any type of non-payment to subcontractors. But a lot of that's passed down. You also have to, some of them require employment verifications, like E-Verify and stuff like that. So even though this goes to the county, we do federal law.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? 3, 4. One against? Withdraw.
And just to clarify, I can't support it if you've already entered into an agreement. I mean, started the ball rolling, and it's an item we can't even technically discuss because it's not on the agenda, and it wasn't brought before the council.
It is a requirement for the application. I'll keep looking. I know we discussed it, but I don't know if it's
Just a John Bear County council seats.
I'm sorry?
There was one council meeting that we had approved to join the county in applying for the grants.
That's what I recall. Like,
Yeah, that I do remember. We all agreed that we would go through the county process and not try to get it on a state level on our own.
well, we will look for that. I think we may have already approved it. I just don't want to misspeak. If we haven't, then we may have to have another quick question. I recall us passing or discussing.
Okay.
Nikki, thank you for caring about formalities and not just shrugging your shoulders at these things.
Yes.
Item 6, discuss and consider adopting the International Fire Code 2006. These were, items 6 and 7 were brought up some time back, and there was no action taken on them, but I recall a lot of discussion about how long they were. There is a short synopsis of each one online, is that true?
I've seen one, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I know this is the same proposal as before, but basically what we're doing is we're adopting the codes that Bear County has approved. There are some that are stricken, such as those that are generally for northern climates, heavy snowfall and that type. But the goal here is that anyone building in the city, it wouldn't be necessarily anything unique. It would be, the baseline would be the same as unincorporated Bear County. Should the city later on wish to add to that, it's fairly simple to say Bear County rules, and here's your short list of supplements or tweaks to it. Also, the other benefit of adopting similar code is when the city gets around to hiring a building inspector, it doesn't require them to be trained much differently. Many small cities either hire former county inspectors or current ones to do stuff on the side, or people that are generally familiar with those codes. It helps in that as well. So that's the proposal. Now, the city's required to purchase a copy of the code.
I found the fire code pretty cheap online. I was lucky, got it for like $7. The building code is like, the cheapest I saw was $175 for a used book.
Correct. That's a 3-book set.
It's 700 pages.
I may have one at the house. Let me look.
Yeah. Now, it's required to be the city to have one, basically for people, if they have a question, they can come and reference it. So that's something we're going to need to purchase. Hopefully we'll have fun soon.
The fire code basically, it covers fire safety after construction, whereas building code still covers fire and safety during the construction phase. I think it's more critical, which, I mean, we will need to have any way to put that, especially commercial buildings, to be following international building code. So, I mean,
I've never seen anyone come to request to look at a copy. It's a requirement, we need to do it. But that's the purpose. But most engineers are very familiar with it. They don't need to go to the city hall and make a record. Now, if the city does make variances from it, then clearly we need to have it available on the website and all that. But just so you know, when adopting this, we're required to purchase one, so we need to do that as soon as possible, or try to get donations for it.
I spoke with some people who work in city and county government last week, and I asked specifically about these 2 items, and I didn't find any city that has adopted the International Fire Code, because that's not the business that they're in. They outsource it to the provider of their fire services. So if it's a county fire department, that's not the business we're in, is managing that part of it when you have professionals that do that.
You're right. Most, for example, fire inspections are generally conducted by the fire department. So here, ESD operates your fire service. Still be conducting inspections, but the city has to set the standard by which they inspect to. So this is just setting the standard. But not every city or county performs fire service or fire inspection or fire service. Sometimes you have a volunteer department. Sometimes the city has a municipal department that does do it, or a code compliance department. But in some of the rural areas, the ESD, the fire departments themselves. It's whatever system council wishes to set up as far as we contracted with our local fire department to do them for us, is what we did. And so it's kind of a hybrid system that ESD trains and makes people available. The city authorizes the, our inspection. But the building inspection is actually, inspections are done by the city. County has building inspectors. And so we set the standard, and we also have an inspector who goes and makes sure it's compliant with.
As I understand, the county still requires periodic inspections during the construction of commercial buildings. So, I mean, although we adopt these, doesn't necessarily mean that we're enforcing them. We're simply stating that we will follow these guidelines.
There's another layer of inspection, and then even a third layer to. But presently, there's no code. There's no house of cards.
Well, I mean, considering what we're gonna do in 8 and 9, it's probably pretty important that.
But this pertains to residents and commercial.
Residents, no, there's a separate building code for
So
residential.
this is strictly for commercial.
Commercial, yeah. There's a residential IBC for residents.
Got it.
Separate for
Okay.
the IBC. Which, and actually, these things are updated every 3 years. I just wonder why everybody's sticking with 06, because it's been updated twice. Do it for another one.
One of the issue of retraining, and maybe this was like a mistake, but my understanding was in 09 they added a lot of new environmental, made it increased cost of construction. A lot of folks just kind of wanted to, I guess maybe allow some jurisdictions to see how it goes. Sometimes when you make major changes, folks are a little bit more cautious because things get tweaked.
Well, we can add to this, can't we, if we
Yeah.
find that we need to.
Yeah, it's grandfather, so let's say next year you say, hey, we want to jump to 09 or something else, that can always be done, and then that begins when it's adopted. But again, right now we have no code, and so we have no way, or
We can take 6 and 7 and lump them together so that we have enough time for the rest of the agenda. Is there any more discussion on this? If not, all those in favor of adopting the International Code and Building Code? Unanimous?
You set the bar.
Unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Number 8 on the agenda, to discuss and consider the approval of a request by Mr. Scott Dye, Mr. Scott Dye, representing Dye Enterprises for a permit to construct a commercial building on 1.5 acres lot at the south end, excuse me, at the southeast corner of the intersection of New Mathis Road and Mathis Road. Dye Enterprises is representing Overland Properties, LLC. Mr. Dye, could you, I know you did before, you,
Sure. Let me just introduce the project again.
yes, please.
Sure. Well, I'm Scott Dye. I'm with Dye Enterprises, owner for a civil engineering land surveying firm. I'm here to represent the developers of the Dollar General store. It's located there at New Mathis Road, Priest Road, right on that southeast corner. It's about a 9,100 square foot building, associated parking lot, and it'll have a septic system that will be referred to the county. And I think that design is underway, if not complete, so that we'll be submitting the septic approval, that septic system over to Bear County, Andy Winter's office for review and approval. And they desire to get started. The building is designed by an architect. Obviously, the land improvements are designed by a civil engineer. I was going to be the civil engineering designing this plan, but it came from the developer himself. So it is a registered professional engineer in the state of Texas. He's done the design. I normally do them. This one I did. But anyways, they generally are meeting the international codes. So any of that would be. The same building has been permitted throughout San Antonio, throughout Bear County, and all different counties all around. It's the same building. So
Mr. Mayor, we don't have a permitting process in place. And this was brought up at the last meeting, which I was requesting some type of approval from the city, just because mainly the county was trying to make sure that they had the permit and whatever, our approval of the city. So what I'm recommending is, should the council consider approving the project, we do so by resolution, pursuant to the plan, stamp on a specific date, that type of thing. It's council's will, but that's how we would do it through resolution, saying plans have been presented, they comply with county standards, and the plan dated such are given approval, and then that can be utilized for the project when we contact county on it.
I mean, that would be like the permit you need, is that what you're talking about?
Right. In lieu of a permit, you have a resolution, essentially a vote of the council that you can show that the council to approve the project. Pursuant to the plans that were presented. If they want to vary the plan, they have to come back and ask for variance, that type of thing. And the condition of the septic being approved by the county as well. But they're going to need that for that, and perhaps when they deal with utilities, that's what the hookups. They always typically ask for the city's approval. But it's the council's will.
So if we were to pass a resolution, that's going to require another meeting to have a resolution drafted and approved?
No, I mean, again, in terms of the resolution we discussed here. So the recommendation is projects approved pursuant to the date on the plans with conditioned upon the septic being approved by the county. I mean, frankly, we don't have a permitting system. We do have a building code. So there's not a lot of restrictions that could be placed on it. Council could not adopt a resolution, and Mr. Nyka didn't have to do a song and dance, but there is no code that would enforce us. We're required to have a permit right now. So that's the situation.
That would require an additional meeting.
No, we could do the
No,
resolution.
we can do
the resolution now. We know with terms the council would set. Those are the ones I'm recommending, there may be others, but the recommendation is that he still has to get the septic approved and permitted through the county, and that they comply with the design that were presented to the council. So they can come up with a different design.
He said he already had that
Right. It's the standard.
in the mix.
Right, he's already shown that to us, but I'm saying, if the council wishes to approve that design, we approve that design. That way they come in and want to build a 10-story high-rise, you want to have the scope of the resolution defined.
the seal date on these are actually November 26, 2014. It's when they were sealed. Basically what I have here is a site plan and a grading plan for the site. It doesn't have all the architecturals in it, but this is more civil related. But I'm sure that we can submit any kind of architecturals that you need to the city for their review, or at least their record. That's in a sense what I have, is a civil site plan and a grading plan.
And those have been approved by the county?
They have not, they weren't required to be submitted. The septic will be a separate drawing that's not here. It'll be be done by Frank Aguirre. He's a licensed sanitarian in Bear County. He's done a lot of them for us. In fact, everyone that we've done that has septic, Frank's done those and received approval. So he will be doing one for this Dollar General as well. And so we're well aware that he has to have that submitted. He may, I'm not really sure if he's submitted it yet or not. I doubt it, but I know he's engaged and working on it. He may be finished. But there's actually a couple of copies here, and I'm glad to leave them here. There's really 3 sets. I'm just glad to leave them here, and they'll be fine with me.
No problem getting us a copy of the building plan itself.
I'll be glad to forward it over to you guys. I guess I can be in touch with the mayor and send it over to the city or whatnot. That'd be fine. I'd be glad to.
Basically, all Dollar Generals, they look alike.
They look alike, and it's a
Okay.
kind of a standard plan. That's correct. The plan you'd be receiving is the one that's been approved many times over, not only in the city of San Antonio, but also in many of the counties around. Everything from, I've done these stores down at Corpus all the way up to north of Temple, so all over the place. So some of them are in incorporated cities, some are in unincorporated areas of the county. And so it's pretty much a standard plan.
So the property's been surveyed,
Yes, ma'am.
it has, and you
Right.
talked about a grading plan. Is that something that you do, or, I mean, an
Yes,
engineer
ma'am.
has
Well,
done that?
normally I do. In this, it just so happens in this particular project, I didn't do the engineering. But I think everyone that I normally am involved with, I am. They wanted to get this, for whatever reason, they wanted to get the plans done quickly, and they had them up. There's an engineer that works along with the developer, but they normally do the engineering work in other states. I usually do it right around this area, but it just so happens this is one that I did not do.
And the developer, is that Overland Properties?
Yes, ma'am. Overland Properties LLC, I believe is what that is. And I'll leave a copy of the survey, now that you brought that up, I'll leave a copy of that as well. With these plans, shows the boundary. I only have one copy of the survey, but that's, for y'all. I can get, anybody would want more copies, I can certainly print and get those to you. And I can get you a full set of architecturals as well as the engineering and septic. There's no problem. We can certainly do that. We have them on file.
Yeah,
We have them on file.
So we're gonna cover this, right? Resolution. So we don't have to bring this back. Just do the resolution.
No, we have to pass a resolution on that on the first.
Pass the resolution. And then we'll do the same.
Exactly.
My understanding that the resolution would then allow for the project, giving you copies will allow the project to begin construction, so to speak.
Believe so.
In your experience with this,
Yes, ma'am.
you said that the seal date was 11/26, that's on the actual plans, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, and then we're waiting on an approval on septic through the county. What other permits, or, from your experience, what other permits or approvals have you had to seek in?
Well, depending on how much land they disturb, they would have to have what's called it's coverage under the general permit for water quality, which comes through the TCQ, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. So it's called a SWIP. You'll start hearing that more often as you see developments. It's a stormwater pollution prevention plan. It tells where to put the silt fence. Yes, when you're disturbing the ground, but it contains the contaminants, they say contaminants, and it can be dirt, sediment, erosion to be maintained on the property. So there is that requirement if it's large enough that requires it. On this one, it's a 1.5 acre tract, and generally if you disturb 1 acre or more, then you have to have that SWIP plan that's on site and it talks about the erosion. So, and there's a plan that was followed. So, I don't know, Mr. Vega, is this, I guess y'all aren't even an MS4 technically, so for notices with the TCEQ, yeah, we're not large enough to do what's called notice of intent for disturbing the ground. It would be just a posting on the site to say, here's where the SWIP plan is located, but some cities require that to be, the posting notice to be given to the city as well. I don't know. I'm assuming probably because there's no standard in place, they would just have it on site as a requirement.
Well, yeah, we have no requirement that any submitted decision, you want to do it as a courtesy,
Yeah, okay,
but there's no requirement.
okay. I'll just have them do that. So that would be the other permit, yeah. The only one I know of is a septic permit from the county, coverage under what's called the general permit of the state for stormwater pollution prevention.
If you, I'll read what the resolution will say very short. Just be resolved that the city of Sandy Oaks approves the site plan and grading plan dated 11/26/14, presented by Oberlin Properties, LLC, is that correct? And the city approves the beginning of construction, conditioned on a septic permit approved by the.
I'd like for it to read exactly what they're going to do there for future reference.
For the construction of a Dollar
The
General.
construction of a Dollar General store specifically. That way, it's the intent, what to go in and to do. And I mean, we know what you're going to do, but like I said, that's what we need to know what the building is going to be used for.
Yeah, and
It's
based on
just-
plan submitted.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, keep
I
in
mean,
mind,
the plan state, I mean, it says
Yeah.
Dollar
Right.
General.
the architecturals aren't there.
Right.
I brought just something to introduce y'all, but I could have had those. I didn't know I needed